Hi everyone, this is Kim Bopney, the fitness doula, and I'm going to shoot a quick video to talk a little bit about the pelvic inlet and the pelvic outlet and how you can position yourself during your labor and your birth to help optimize the space for the baby to move into and out of the pelvis. So I have a pelvis model here, and I'm going to point out the 2 points that I'm talking about. So the pelvic outlet is the space between the sits bones, the pubic bone, the pubic joint, and your coccyx or your tailbone here. So this is the outlet where the baby crowns and comes out into the world. The inlet is the top part here when the baby is starting to move into the pelvis and down and eventually out of the outlet here. So in early labor, that's when we want to increase the space in the inlet. And what I want you to pay attention to here is the sacrum. And this pelvis, the movements that I show you are going to be exaggerated, but it'll give you an idea of what's happening in your own body. So the sacrum here has the ability to nutate and counter-nutate, and that also affects the outlet here. So if I hold it this way, so nutate and counter-nutate here. As we're trying to increase the space in the inlet, so in early stage labor, we actually would want to be in positions that almost tuck our tailbone under, and you can see how that increases the space here. So if you're sitting on a stability ball, which is actually what I'm on right now, positions where you would be rocking, so I've got other videos that I talk about rocking and stretching on the ball and also tucking your bum under, so kind of doing pelvic tilts, can be very helpful in terms of increasing that space here in the inlet as we're trying to allow the baby to move into our pelvis. When it's time to push, so as the babe has moved down, their head is getting ready to crown, that's when we want to increase the space here in the outlet. So you can see that if I was in a position where my tailbone was tucked, that space is actually reduced. If I can move into positions where my sacrum can get out of the way, it increases that space, as you can see. So there's decrease in space and an increase. And again, these are exaggerated movements, but in early labor, we want to create space in the inlet. In the second stage, when we're actually pushing, we want to increase space in the outlet, and that will help make for an easier transition and birth for our babe. The other thing to note too is we do have other bony prominences in the pelvis as well, that sometimes, depending on the baby's position, like their head and everything, sometimes they can kind of bump into those. So the more we can keep freedom of movement in our pelvis, the less likely it is for the babe to kind of find something and feel like they would get stuck there. So any asymmetrical movements that allow you to twist and rotate, I've got other videos where I show you different leg movements where you extend your legs out to the side. Any of those type of movements will also help with the asymmetries in the pelvis and help move things so that the babe can kind of, navigate its way down without reaching points of tension or bony prominences that might kind of act as a sticking point for them. So inlet, outlet, and asymmetries in our pelvis are all really important to pay attention to in labor and in our birth, and also something to keep in mind when we're training. So we want to find movements that allow us to practice the pelvic tilting and untilting and the side-to-side movements, and also the asymmetrical movements that will help keep the muscles around the pelvis loose and limber and free of tension. So I hope you found that helpful. We'll talk to you again soon.